Good morning, my name is Stephanie. I'm from Advanced Plus class, and today I'm gonna present you some grammar topics that I have seen in these days. The first topic that I'm gonna talk about are the participles. So there are three kinds of participles in English: present participle, past participle, and perfect participle. You probably know the first two from certain tenses and adjective forms. Apart from that, participles are also used to shorten sentences. Present participle. The present participle is the ing form. So the present participle can be used to describe the following verbs: come, go, and sit. An example will be the girl sat crying on the sofa. The second point is that the present participle can also be used after verbs of the senses if we do not want to emphasize that the action was completed. An example will be, did you see him dancing? Furthermore, the present participle can be used to shorten or combine active clauses that have the same subject. An example will be, she left the house and whistled. She left the house whistling. Past participle. The past participle is a participle that you find in the third column of lists with irregular verbs. You surely know this form. From perfect tenses, it is I have spoken. From passive voice, it is the letter was written. And as an adjective form, it is I was bored to death. The past participle can also be used to shorten or combine passive clauses that have the same subject. An example will be, the boy was given an apple, he stopped crying. Given an apple, the boy stopped crying. Perfect participle. The perfect participle can be used to shorten or combine clauses that have the same subject if one action is completed before the next action starts, or if one action has been going on for a period of time when another action starts. The perfect participle can be used for active and passive voice. For the active voice, it is having plus past participle. An example will be, having cooked, he set the table. And for the passive voice, it is having been plus past participle. And an example will be, having been cooked, the food looked delicious. The next topic is voice of verbs, active and passive voice. These two different ways of using verbs are known as voices. In everyday writing, the active voice is much more common than the passive. The passive tends to be used in formal documents such as official reports or scientific papers, often where an action or situation is regarded as more significant than who or what did or caused it. Active voice. When the verb is active, the subject of the verb is doing the action, as in these examples. France beat Brazil in the final. Jack will take the matter forward. More than 300 million people speak Spanish. In the last example, more than 300 million people is the subject and speak is the active verb. Passive voice. When the verb is passive, the subject undergoes the action rather than doing it, as in these examples. Brazil was beaten in the final. Spanish is spoken by more than 300 million people worldwide. The matter will be taken forward by Jack. In the last example, the matter is the subject and will be taken is the passive verb. The next topic is voice of verbs with two objects. When there are two objects in an active sentence, there are two possible active sentences and two possible passive sentences. For example, sentence 1. The professor gave the students the books. Sentence 2. The professor gave the books to the students. There are two objects in each of the following sentences. Object 1. Indirect object, the students. Object 2. Direct object, the books. An indirect object is very often a person, and a direct object a thing. When a direct object is followed by an indirect one, we put to in front of the indirect object. Here are some examples. In the active voice, the salesman showed him a new computer. In the passive, a new computer was shown to him. In the active voice, we lent Bob some money. In the passive, Bob was lent some money. And in the last one, in the active voice, Jack sent Jill a large bouquet of white and red roses. And in the passive, Jill was sent a large bouquet of white and red roses by Jack. The last topic is personal and impersonal passive voice. Impersonal passive. The form for the impersonal passive is it plus passive verb plus clause. Verbs which can be used: agree, think, show, believe, claim, estimate, know, etc. Examples. The first one is in simple present. It is expected that the weather will change in 2 weeks. The second one, it is in simple past. It was reported the crime. And the last one, it is in simple present. It is said that the fruit should be eaten before your meals. Personal passive. The first form is subject plus passive verb plus to infinitive. And the second is subject plus passive verb plus perfect infinitive. Examples. People know that she is a good swimmer, so it will be she is known to be a good swimmer. They say that Francis is in hospital, so it will be Francis is said to be in hospital. And the last one is they think that the children are in bed, so it will be the children are thought to be in bed. In conclusion, these 4 topics help you to see how a sentence can be written in different ways while maintaining the same meaning, or how is the correct way to state a sentence in a specific situation. Some topics are more extensive than others, and you probably don't understand them very well at first, but if you practice, you will master them. It can be difficult, but it is worth it, as they help you to reinforce your grammar.